Reporter of CPE 411 under Engineer Chan A. Bacos. My first report is all about principle of ethics and professional ethics. First, we should know what is ethics. Ethics it refers to the moral values that are sound and reasonable actions or policies that are morally required or right, morally permissible or it's all right, or otherwise morally desirable is good. Which is morally required, ginatawag siya og right, it is because nag-base na siya sa lihok nato. Kumbaga, naana siya sa ato ajod. Mao na siya, dili na siya mabago. Mao na siya ginatawag nga morally required. Ang morally permissible, kumbaga mandatory. Like example, sa karon need na to mag face mask. Which is need na to mag face mask kay para dili ta makahawa or kita dili ta mahawaan. Which is mandatory, and then makabenefit ang bawat isa. Mao na siya ginatawag nga morally permissible. And the otherwise morally desirable is good, which is nagdepende siya sa attitude nimo. Kung unsa ang gipakita sa imo sa isa ka tawo, maupod ang imuhang response sa iya. And then we should know what is engineering ethics. Consists of the responsibilities and rights that ought to be endorsed by those engaged in engineering, and also of desirable ideas and personal commitments in engineering. So, that's why we need to study engineering ethics. Kay diri nagadepende, kumbaga diri na mold imuhang sarili sa engineering ethics. Kay murag kumbaga tudluan ka og mag decision making, tapos ma-broad imuhang huna-huna. In ethics, it has two types. The called descriptive sense and normative sense. The descriptive sense refers what specific individuals or group believes and how they act without implying that their beliefs and actions are justified. Example, ang ginatawag siya descriptive sense, it's because murag nag-exist na siya sa atoa ba, ang ato ang lihok is existence na jud siya sa atoa, naa na jud na sa atoa. Unlike sa normative sense, diri siya nagabase sa justified moral values in engineering. So, sa moral values engineering, is study of strengthen our ability to reason clearly, carefully about moral questions, to invoke terms widely used in determining but not just any kind of independent reflection about ethics. In engineering ethics, it has to help the improving practical skills that will help produce autonomous thought. First, moral awareness. This means proficiency is recognizing moral problems and issues in engineering. Second is cogent moral reasoning. This means comprehending, clarifying, assessing arguments on opposing sides or moral issues. Which is example, in engineering ethics, nag-seek ta og answer because based sa atong curiosity, like need jud nato siya ma-clarify o ma-prove kung unsa jud ang tama. Mao na siya ginatawag nga cogent moral reasoning. The third is moral coherence. This is forming consistent and comprehensive viewpoints based on consideration of relevant facts. Which is example, nanatay nakita nga answer. but need na to jud siya i-prove kung tama ba jud, so mag-need ta og mas relevant nga facts like kung tahay sa mga thesis, need na to siya ma-prove nga kani siya na nabuhat na jud di ay ni siya nga project. The fourth is moral imagination. This is discerning alternative response to moral issues and finding creative solution for practical difficulties. Like example, nanatay na create but dapat need pod nato siya og creative solution para kung maglisod ta naatay murag naka-plan B, naka-plan A, ana siya nga mga solusyon. So ginatawag siya og moral imagination.
Go.
Fifth, moral communication. This is ability in the precision in use of common ethical language, a skill needed for express and support one's moral views adequately. The moral communication is like kung unsaon na to siya pag-communicate sa isa ka tao or isa ka and then dapat pod kanang appropriate pod ang imuhang pag-approach sa iyaha. The sixth is moral reasonableness. This is the willingness and ability to be moral reasonable, which is dili siya ibig sabihin nga willingness and ability morally reasonable, dili ibig sabihin nga mag-reason na lang ka. Dapat pod imong reason is productive pod sa imuhang lihok, dapat with etiquette gihapon siya. And then the seventh is respect for person. This is genuine concern for the well-being of other as well as oneself. Yes, of course, like akong giingon ganina, nagdepende siya sa like example, like for example, ganina sa morally desirable, nagdepende siya kung unsa imong gipakita sa isa ka tawo, unsa imong gi-attitude sa iyaha, mao po na response sa imuha. So dapat respect for persons. And the eighth is tolerance of diversity. This is respect for ethnic and religious differences and acceptance of reasonable difference in moral perspective. Syempre, dili tatanan parihas og religion. Dili tatanan parihas og nation. So, that's why kailangan nato sila i-accept o kailangan nato sila sabton dili kay lahi sila sa atoa, so murag mag-race na ta sa ilaha. And the 9 is moral hope. This is to enrich appreciation of the possibilities of using rational dialogue in resolving moral conflicts. Like for example, the Islam is kanang lahi-lahi ta nila, lahi ilahang perspective sa atoa, lahi pod ang perspective nila sa atoa. So naa jud tay murag rational dialogue nga murag ma-conflict ta sa ilaha o ma-conflict pod sila sa atoa. And the last, integrity. This is maintaining moral integrity and integrating one's professional life and personal convictions. Under the principle of ethics, it has a society. What is society? A society is an association of people organized under a system of rules designed to advance the good of its member over time. Cooperation among individuals helps promote the common good. Which example, when they decide how to divide among themselves to limited benefits, sometimes competition is more significant, like when two start-up companies seek dominance of emerging market. In every society, there has rule, and the example of rule in society like sa environment, dili man ta same og kanang beliefs, mga perspectives. So ang society mismo or environment naa siya nagakandak siya og lahi-lahi nga morality. Depende sa tao or sa situation.
Go.
We need to know what is the difference about ethics and morality. So for me, the ethics is like kumbaga need nimo siya i-follow kay based sa imuhang kumbaga nakagiskwelahan, and then kumbaga murag dapat nag-base siya sa imuhang kay nakay delikadesa, nakay education background, and like sa morality which is nagdepende na lang siya kung sundon ba nimo siya o dili. In short, murag konsensya nimo siya sa imuhang conscience values nimo ana siya. It has a good ethical theory and able to more persuasive logical argument. The first is subjective relativism. Under relativism is the theory that are no universal moral norms of right and wrong. In this theory, different individuals, group, or people can have completely opposite view of moral problem and both can be right. Like example, kumbaga, nag-opinion ka, paminaw nimo tama ka, paminaw pod niya tama ka. Depende na lang na sa inyo ha kung giunsa ninyo pagsabot ang inyuhang giistoryahan or gisabutan. And the second is cultural relativism. And the cultural relativism is an ethical theory that the meaning of right and wrong rests with the society actual moral guidelines. So, pag cultural manggod siya, nagdepende siya from place to place and time to time. The next is divine command theory. The divine command theory is based on idea that good actions are those aligned with the will of God and the bad actions are those contrary to the will of God. And the more sex of with this religion's tradition, argument holy books with other sources with developing their moral codes. Like kita lahi man ta og religion, so naapod siya dapat kuman nga kung unsa ang naa sa Bible, maora jud dapat to siya ang ato ang basihan. Pero which is lahi naman taog kanang religion ron, so dili na to sila mapugos nga kung unsa atong gituuhan dapat maopoy tuuhan nila. Like example, kanang naa kay gibuhat sa isa ka tawo nga tama siya pero sa Bible mali, like gikawat to nimo nga pagkaon kay para ipakaon sa iya ha kay kanang gitabangan nimo siya kay wala siya gikaon, pero which is sa Bible mali gihapon to siya kay nangawat man ka. So na-align siya dapat nga sa Bible kung mali imong gibuhat mali na jud na siya. Ethical egoism. This theory does not prohibit acting to help someone else but assisting another in the right thing to do if and only if is helper's own long-term best interest. Kantianism. A Kantian is able to go beyond simply stating that an action is right or wrong by citing a chapter and verse. Ingon ni Immanuel Kant kanang ang ingon ni Kantian is ang moral law magdepende sa situation. Like for example, nakapatay ka og tao pero dili nimo siya intention nga mapatay nimo siya, kumbaga nahulog siya og kanang self-defense. The next is social contract theory. Based on Hobbes, the two things that agree civilized society is the establishment of such a set of moral rules to govern relations among citizens. And second, government capable of enforcing these rules. He calls this arrangement the social contract. The common morality is the set of moral beliefs shared by almost everyone. It is basis or reference point of other types of morality. First, many of precepts of common morality are negative. Example, I can violate your personhood by killing you, lying to you, stealing you, and so on and so forth. And the second, although common morality is primarily negative, it does contain a positive or aspirational component, such as prevent killing, prevent deceit, prevent cheating, and so forth. It might also include positive but to like help the needy, promote human happiness. And the third is make a distinction between evaluation of person, action, and his intentions. Example, if you convey false information to another person with the intent to deceive, you are lying. If you convey the same false information because you do not know any better, you're not lying and you're not usually morally capable. The personal morality. The personal morality is a set of moral beliefs that a person holds. Most of our personal moral beliefs closely parallel the precepts of common morality. The last part of my topic is professional ethics. And the professional ethics is the set of standards adopted by professionals insofar they view themselves acting in professional. Every profession has its professional ethics. Engineering ethics is the set of ethical standards that applies to the profession's engineering. First, professional ethics is usually stated in a formal code. Professional societies usually have codes of ethics referred to as a code of professional responsibility or code of professional conduct and the like. Professional ethics focus on the issues and that are important in professions. Professional ethics is supposed to take precedence over personal morality. At least, this may be advantageous but somehow complicated. Example, when a patient enters a physician examining room, he or she can expect the conversation to be confidential even if does not know anything of physician morality.
Go.
4. Professional ethics differs from personal morality in its degree of restrictions of personal conduct. Personal ethics is something more or less restrictive than personal morality. Example, it's suppose an engineer refuses to design military hardware because she or he believes war is immoral. Engineering code does not prohibit engineers designing a military hardware. The refusal of engineer is based on the personal ethics, not on professional ethics. In this case, personal ethics is more restrictive than professional ethics.